Greetings, and welcome to A Year of Movies, a Planet Geek production. For this project, we are using the Ivan Walters reference book of 365 films to watch on the day they happened. Each day, we watch a movie associated with the date we are watching it on. And as it is May the 4th be with you, today we are going to be watching The Messenger, the story of Joan of Arc from 1999, directed by Luc Besson and starring Milla Jovovich. So to begin with, at the time that this movie was coming out, a friend of mine who is a huge fan of Milla Jovovich, she was so excited to see this movie. And there was no doubt that I wasn't going to see a Milla and Luc Besson movie in the theaters and all that. And so I'm pretty sure we actually saw it opening day. A bunch of us went to go see it and really enjoyed seeing it, and have watched this movie a few times over the past little while. Just one other thing, I didn't remember it actually being like as long as this movie was. I had always thought it was much shorter, but hey, I just watched the movie and it is as long as it actually is. And as I had just previously mentioned, not only does this movie star Milla Jovovich, but it also stars Dustin Hoffman, Faye Dunaway, John Malkovich, Tetsuki Karo, Vincent Cassel, and Richard Riding. So this is a gloriously over-the-top, very stylized, gorgeously shot telling of the life of Joan of Arc from her early days as a child, having several confessions a day at church, talking about hearing voices up until her obvious demise, as we know how her story rolls out. But it is so beautifully shot. Luc Besson does a fantastic job of capturing an era visually. We have our lead of Milla Jovovich is captivating as she goes through all the stages of the life of Joan, obviously except for the child version. But she is surrounded by such fantastic cast members. All of the men that work under her lead are so wonderfully fleshed out. And when we have names like John Malkovich and Faye Dunaway, you just know you have a fantastic job. Costumes are fantastic. The stunts are really cool. There is a lot of people used in a lot of these things, because again, we're dealing with a time prior to digital effects. So when you see thousands of people on a field, there are thousands of people on a field. Now, obviously the numbers aren't that much, but the example is that instead of like having 20 and then duplicating them all over the place, you actually have the amount of people that you actually see. And sadly, the life of Joan is not as straightforward as it could be. It starts off with a happy life, confessing, like I said, 4 times a day at church. Unfortunately, the English attack her village, and bad things happen to her family members. One particular. And as she grows up, she sends like several letters to the Dauphin Charles, which is John Malkovich, stating that she is a messenger of God and whatnot. Eventually, he allows her an audience, and as he disguises himself, she is able to pick out him from the crowd, and she ends up telling her about the visions and his future status because of what she claims is the voice of God telling her. Eventually, she's given command of an army, and as the conquest goes through, Charles does become king, and once he reaches that position, they sort of distance themselves from Joan and her conquests, and eventually falling where she gets captured by the English and then tried and executed. During an early point in her conquest with her armies, she had suggested an attack on Torlise, but the next day, which is May 4th, 1429, the army actually attacks St. Loups without her, and is in retreat when Joan appears and ends up turning them around, eventually turning it into a successful capture. But she is also, at the time, shot by an arrow as well. And this is about an hour and 3 minutes into this 2 hour and 28 minute movie. Alright, so on that note, we're going to wrap up this particular episode and look off into the future, see what we're going to be watching for tomorrow, which is May the 5th, and that is going to be The Right Stuff from 1983. So until next time, go see a movie.